The Gainsborough and District Heritage Association presents a brief history of Marshall Sons & Co Limited of Gainsborough, which was an industrial town situated in the agricultural county of Lincolnshire. Many generations of families from Gainsborough and the surrounding areas were employed by the company, and it became the heart of the industrial town of Gainsborough for many decades. Marshall Sons & Co was founded in 1848 by William Marshall, who by trade was a millwright and engineer, who purchased the land to build premises on Beaumont Street. This occurred after the sale of the Back Street Foundry in 1855, which was situated between North Street and Church Street. The family business was created when William's eldest son entered the business in 1849, and followed by Henry, the younger son, who entered 4 years later in 1853. The company produced agricultural machinery in the form of threshing machines, and due to the encouragement from William's 2 sons, the company expanded and developed portable engines. In 1856, it was claimed by William Waller, the firm's chief engineer, that in the previous 10 years of the company's existence, it had produced 2,200 portable engines. 2 of the original portable engines produced by the company were sold to Lincolnshire farmers at Blyton and Sturton-by-Stow. However, in 1913, 1,300 engines were sold, with the great majority going to overseas customers. In 1870, the manufacture of tea-preparing machinery and road rollers also began. In 1892, the firm occupied 20 acres with 2,200 employees. By the 1900s, the firm employed 4,150 men and boys. The factory worked 54 hours per week, including Saturday mornings, 1.5 hours being allowed for breakfast and lunch breaks. After the commencement of the First World War, the factory was converted to war production, which focused on producing 8,000 military vehicles, 1,597 4-inch naval gun mountings and Bristol aircraft fuselages. After the war, there was a decline in the profitability of all types of steam engine products, as well as threshing machines and combine harvesters. The company was struggling during the 1930s, and in 1935 Thomas W. Ward Limited of Sheffield came to the rescue, and in March 1936 an entirely new company was formed. During the Second World War, the company again was converted to war production, which included building gun mountings and midget submarines. In 1941, the Ministry of Agriculture announced that it wished to place an order for 2,000 agricultural tractors to assist its programme of boosting homegrown food production. In 1944, it was agreed that the company would manufacture 2,000 of the new tractors, which became known as the Field Marshal Series 1. The tractor's reliability and performance was soon acknowledged by the farming fraternity, and there was a great demand for the new models. In 1956, the production of Track Marshal tractors began. By 1963, there was the introduction of the new diesel road rollers, and by 1964, the production of a new range of boilers called the Wicks water tube boilers commenced. The works were divided into 2 parts, known as the north and south sides, and were connected by a tunnel under Station Road, which led to the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway Station. It later became part of the Great Central Railway, which was on the east side of the site.
We'll start off at the far end on the photograph, and Boiler Mountain Bay was where majority of the boilers was assembled. Now then, off that you had some buildings that was known to people that worked in there as the Klondike. Colville Terrace, you had another entrance which was number 3 entrance, and that entrance used to take you into the boiler shop. Now then, the house on Colville Terrace at the top, if you look closely at it, it is cut off at 45 degrees, the brickwork on the corner. Now this was because they'd built a big Wicks water tube boiler and they hadn't enough room to get it down Colville Terrace. So Marshalls purchased that house and we took the corner off so they could get the boiler in. Shops then where you had all the machining done, such as gear cutting, you had grinding, milling and boring and drilling, and that was all done in that particular area. And then coming a bit further down onto Beaumont Street, you had the front of the offices, and everybody in them days knew about the stainless steel doors. And the stainless steel doors, you could go through there and go up a beautiful staircase onto the gallery and up to the boardroom. And along there was also loads of offices, office space, and quite a lot of people was employed up there. And you had the drawing office, the thermal office, and then you had works order, you also had the shipping. Now then, the foundry itself, I mean, there were some very skilled men in there doing the mouldings and castings and that, but you also made sure at night you did not walk through them shops because it was really black and you could hardly see. And
we used to congregate at number 1 entrance, ready for the buzzer, because the buzzer would go at 12 o'clock to say it's dinner time. And people would be congregating there a couple of minutes before the buzzer, because you always had like 5 minutes to wash your hands. They used to have that like liquid jelly soap, like Swarfiga and that, So everybody could obviously in engineering places you always get oily hands, so you got a chance to wash your hands, 5 minutes to wash your hands and get yourself ready. So most people would be at the gate. As soon as that buzzer went, they poured out there across the road in a huge bunch, no matter what were coming, people would be frightened, what's happening, because they all wanted to get to the canteen. If you're first in canteen, you got your dinner first. If you was slow getting in, you'd be in the queue all the way back out the door virtually, and you'd have to wait another 10-15 minutes to get your dinner.
In 1968, the Marshall Group of companies became part of the Thomas W. Ward Group, and in 1969, Marshalls and Fowler started to trade under the joint name of Marshall Fowler Limited. In 1975, Thomas W. Ward sold their interest in the company to British Leyland, and the company was renamed Aveling Marshall Limited. The main products the company then produced were crawler tractors and wheeled shovel loaders. In 1979, British Leyland sold off their share in the company to a Lincolnshire farmer and businessman called Mr. Charles Nickerson, who continued the manufacture of crawler tractors under the name of Track Marshall Limited. 1986 saw the final conclusion of production on the former site of Marshall Sons & Co. Limited, as the Track Marshall Company ceased to exist. In 1999, on the south side of the former site, many workshops were demolished, including the Veterans Club and the boiler shop, to make way for the new Tesco supermarket. The north side of the former site was occupied for many years by a company called Nestlé Engineering, who maintained and sold off old machinery. In 1994, the Gainsborough Heritage Association's first heritage centre was also situated on the site. In addition to the growing interest in the heritage of Marshalls, enthusiasts preserve many of the different models of tractors produced by the company. An annual event hosted at Marshall's Yard on Father's Day showcases many of these nostalgic tractors. The former site of Marshalls formed part of the regeneration of the town, as 2007 saw the opening of Marshall's Yard. As part of the plans to build a shopping centre in Gainsborough, the history of Marshalls was restored through the buildings, and the statue of Britannia, which still stands proud above the entrance of the former main doors to the factory today.